Alright, hey there, this is Chris Park, the founder and lead designer at Arcen Games again. And what I'm going to do is show you a few different things. One of the big things you're going to notice immediately is that combat has really changed. It was kind of an RTS sort of thing previously, and it is no longer. For those of you who are grognards, you're going to notice this is a lot more action-oriented, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how you can adjust the combat speed to be basically whatever it is that you want, so that it is not a Twitch game if you don't want it to be. The other thing I'm going to say is that coming up, we're also going to be having a kind of text adventure is the wrong word, but we'll be having a text-based combat mode. It's kind of a stand-in for auto-resolve. It's more than just pushing a button and the battle resolves. You actually go through and make the larger tactical decisions, but in kind of a text-based format. So if you're totally opposed to having this sort of combat, but you're like agog over the strategy part, no problems. You can get around that one of two ways. So alright, that one's still in work though, so I'm going to show you that later. Right now what I'm going to do is just show you first a bit of combat practice, and then I'm going to show you the first footage from the solar map. So let's get started. I think I said last time that the combat practice screen was basically done and wasn't going to change any. Yeah, that was not true at all, as it turned out. So okay, entered combat now. I just have my flagship. I do not have other little ships to go along with me. I can zoom out only so far. I cannot pan around. Up here you can see the minimap, and you can see where my screen view is at the moment, and you can see some things about where both enemy and allied flagships are, and special objectives. And then later, as little squadrons start coming out, you'll see the tiniest little blips for them. You can make the minimap even larger, or get it out of my way some, depending on, you know, what I think about it. Over here on the left, I can see that there are 3 factions here currently, other than myself. There are the Thoraxians, and currently I'm enemies with them, and I am actually ready to shoot at them. If I do hold fire, then my shots will not hit them. There's not really usually a reason to do that with enemies, occasionally so, but most of the time not. Then I've got the Acutians, which are my allies. You can see that by the blue, and I'm, you know, holding fire with them. But if I want to betray them during the battle, then I can turn on active targeting and start, you know, stabbing them in the back, basically. Depending on what I do shooting them, they may or may not notice right away. If I shoot them substantially, they will. But if I want to just like sneak in and destroy a little space installation behind their back, and they're like, oh yeah, I'm still helping you with this fight, then there's a chance they may not notice. You know, you can kind of roll the dice with that. At any rate, I don't actually want to shoot them in this case. And then there's the Andors, who are like the, you know, the goody two-shoes, and you know, naturally they're teamed up with the, like, you know, Scourge of the Galaxy, and they're both enemies to me. So okay, this one is a capture technology mission, so I'm supposed to go and capture an orbital science lab, and it's one of these little X's here, but those X's are a variety of different things. So let's see what's going on. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and start the combat, and so here we go. You'll notice right now I've started a little bit further away from the battle than we will in the final game. If I want to go faster, I can just hold the G key and, you know, really zip around. If you look at the, and here's a Thoraxian cruiser after me, or exterminator rather. And so you can see I'm clicking and actually doing the direct aiming. And you can see by the colors, these are enemy turrets. Notice they explode into balls of debris, which can act as cover, both for me and for the enemies. They slow the flagships down some, slow the smaller ships down a whole lot more. It's pretty interesting because you can kind of make mobile cover as you're in the middle of fighting. You'll notice that my shields up in the top corner there are regenerating. well, they are when I'm not taking fire. There's a sniper that's hitting me, and shoot, man, they're really on me here. Boom. You have some special abilities down there at the bottom now as well, which you may have noticed. Where are my allies? Oh man, the Thraxians trashed them. That's what happened. Okay, so I can pause at any time, and I can say, all right, well, you know, this is getting out of hand. It's getting a little twitchy. I need more time to think. So, okay, look around. You can see, okay, these are the sniper turrets right here that were hitting me. This is their cone of fire. We've got some Thraxian guys coming after me over here. Now, I don't have to go and just kill every ship. I'm here to capture some technology. And I've just kind of been just faffing around over there on the side, not really, you know, focusing on that. But let's go in and say that we're going to go into slow motion. So you can just hit the hotkey T, or you can click the little button there, and that goes to quarter speed. So now you'll notice it is quite slow. So I can maneuver around very much in slow-mo. And there's absolutely no reason to, you know, worry this is a twitch thing. But let's say this isn't slow enough for me, and I can go back to regular speed here. We'll just go into settings right here. Battle speed. Normally it's at 1. Let's crank that down. Let's crank it all the way down. This may not even hardly be playable. This is like incredible super duper slow-mo. But I can hold fast forward. Wow, even on double fast forward, it's like so slow there. So, you know, that's not really a realistic. I mean, you know, some people maybe, but not me. So now this is slower. This is at 0.6. So, and then I sped it up there for a second. Boy, I'm gonna die. My allies were not useful. Yeah. Anyway, let's start an actual game here. So we'll do a quick start, which is going to make me allied with the Acutians automatically. You'll notice right here it sets the battle speed right as soon as you first get in. I'm going to go on and set it on 0.4 just as kind of an example. And we'll go from here. Alright, so it gives this little intro story thing, and then, you know, tells us about, you know, the fact that we stole the flagship from the Acutians. We can see what kind of planet they're on. They're on one of the molten ones, so let's go get them. Alright, first encounter. So we can, you know, go kill him, or we can go try and escape pretty quickly. You'll notice it randomly rolled me some starting abilities here out of the 20 some odd that are there. Cloaking, nice. Cloaking field, those are both useful. Operation Kamichi, that's one of my favorites. Giga Cannon and Nuke. Okay, so what we will be doing in this combat later on, this first encounter, is making it so that there's more like a friendly objective that you can also do, but haven't had time to put that in yet. As it stands, you can either go kill him, or you can wait out the timer, which is 2 minutes of game time. So since I'm playing on half speed, that'd be 4 minutes in real time, unless I'm fast forwarding, before I can then withdraw and escape. So let's see what we're doing here. So as you can see on the minimap, those guys are up there. I'm gonna do super fast forward a little bit so I can get a little closer. Alright, I'm gonna pause. There's a GPS satellite. Okay, so that's a civilian unit that belongs to the Acutians, who are the enemy. I'll lose 5 influence with them if I destroy that, but they will lose 10% of budget effectiveness for a year of game time. So what that means is they're going to be less effective at absolutely everything. That's building infrastructure on their planet, building new spaceships, building new entire armadas, etc. So, you know, that could be useful, or it could be something that I don't want to get into. Alright, Operation Kamichi it is. These guys, when I spawned them, the operations all spawned some kind of ship, and you don't control the ships directly per se. These guys, you can see the little yellow lights on them. That means that they are guarding me, and so they'll just orbit me. But when I fire, you'll notice they all fire directly at the mouse cursor, wherever it is I'm firing. So it gives me this whole swarm of little guys. And boy, it pains me to play at this speed because it's I like Twitch games, so I tend to like to play it on a faster speed than that. But you know, last time one of the big comments we got from folks was, "Gosh, that looks fast," and so yeah, thought we'd address that. Debris in the way. Boom, got it. Okay, now super fast forward some. And so you can see there's my ship coming over to here. These guys are, so this is a communication satellite, so is the other one. I didn't really talk about that. Same sort of deal, except these are, the public order will go down by 10 on a scale that goes from -100 to +100. And that's basically trending towards crime and other things on the planet, which is not great for them. So if I wanted to affect their planet that way, then I could destroy it. I damaged it a bit as it was, but you know, okay, so you can see them shooting some sign things at me. And now, see, that guy's got protection because he's got this, oops, yeah, I didn't think about that. So I used a nuke in orbit, and now I've warped out. That was the last guy. I used a nuke in orbit, and so that I poisoned their atmosphere a little bit. Their environment score just went down by 4, and I lost 4 influence with the Acutians by doing that, which is whatever. They already hate me. If you're out in the middle of nowhere, like in the ice belt, asteroid belt, out in the middle of space, whatever, you're not around the planet, nuke away. There's no penalties. They're powerful. If you're in orbit around a planet, you know, just fall out. So, okay, I gained bargaining power by killing their ships, and that was into that contract. So, here we are. We are in the solar map here. Some of the interface stuff with these graphics needs to be updated a little bit. But I can see who is and who is not spacefaring. I can see the name of the planets. I can see what race controls each planet. There's a little ticker that goes along the bottom there with the chatter. You can click that and open it up and see what everybody's saying. So, you know, it's kind of like Twitter, basically. And so the Acutians are kind of mad at us. And oh, it looks like the Burles and then the Thoraxians both made it to spacefaring really fast. So, okay, that's fine. You can pause, fast forward, super fast forward out here on this map as well. The simulation is going when you are not paused. So you can see, okay, so the Acutians on their planet, which they only have one right now, yeah, maybe not for long, you never know, they have declared martial law to help improve their public order, because their public order is in the toilet. Holy cow, it's at -100 right now. So I mean, it's just crime is in the streets. It's terrible. There's various knock-on effects from that. So that was a priority for them. So okay, and here we've got the notifications about, you know, the Burles became spacefaring and the Thoraxians became spacefaring. They did it without us. If we want to make some friends, we can go and help somebody else become spacefaring. So the Peltians, they're not at all towards there. Most everybody else is not close. Oh, okay. The Skylaxians are 2% along. There's also a bunch of detailed intel. Nah, I don't know if this is scary off. There's a bunch of stuff, but you don't have to go in on everything. I'm going to disable the planetary overlay so this doesn't look so cluttered either. You can see, you know, the satellites and the ships and all that sort of thing. And the planetary overlay is really helpful, but it's not something that you need to have on at all times. Let's see here. So we can see like Armada graphs. There's not much data here right at the moment. But you can look at it by power and flotillas and all that good stuff. Planetary health graphs has a little bit more information, so you can see the Acutians, their public order started out up there, and then it took a dive. I think I did that. I must have messed with their satellite. I should have paid more attention. And that is one of the things, one of the reasons we're still in alpha, is that we are still building in logs and so forth, so you can go, hey, wait a second, why did that happen? Let me go back and see. We have some of that stuff, but we don't have it all. So it's just, you know, one of those things that comes as we go along. What was I was going to show you next? Oh yeah, race relations. So this is a nice little thing where you can see how everybody feels about everybody else. So we can say, all right, what do the Skylaxians feel about everybody else, and how do they feel towards them? So Skylaxians, you can see their half going out is how they feel about the other race, and then the other half coming back is how the other race feels about them. So they're kind of neutral to the Borines over there on the left. They like the Evux down there in the bottom right, and then they have some dislike of everybody else. And then you've got, you know, like the Acutians just have unyielding hatred towards me. Why? What is that about? So I can go click on myself, and I can see, for one thing, a bit of information, but let's click on there. This screen isn't prettied up like we're going to have it eventually either, but I can see, okay, well, the Acutians, I used 2 nukes, and so there's 4 influence, I guess, that I lost with them from using nukes in orbit there. And then there's just the first race, whichever race you decided to crash land on their planet, which on quick start it just makes it the Acutians. They have just a starting hatred towards you. And then there's a generalized oppression at the start. Everybody else is like, you know, hey, your race has been oppressing us for a while. We're not sure about you. And you know, you can also then see how the other races are feeling about one another. So there's an original inherent like and dislike for each race, and there's some rules about who does what. A lot of it's randomized and procedural, but there's also stuff that's kind of built into each race about how many people they like and dislike and what the general ranges are and all that sort of stuff. So there's that. But then the Andors here also really aren't thrilled about the Acutians because the public order is so low, and so they're starting to be like, look, dudes, you know, geez, get it together, you guys are a bunch of crooks. I mean, I don't like you. So you've got that. There are 30 some odd factors that make races like each other more or less. There are 50 some factors that make them like you more or less. So this bar graph gets a lot bigger as things go on, but it just shows the things that are actually there. The blue things, by the way, are positive, and the red things are negative, which should be fairly self-apparent. Okay, so let's actually do something else. So fly around. The spaceship here is like basically your little cursor. You can drive it around with WASD, just like in the battles, or you can just right-click and it takes you there. So what is this? We can see that there's a little skirmisher here at the planet, and we can see that there's a couple of Acutian armadas as well. The little purple means it's Thoraxian. They're just over here to fight for some reason. And I don't have an informant here, so I can't have dealings with the criminal underworld yet. Let's see. I'll show you a little bit about politics. So I'll click into the Acutian CEOs. It gives me a little bit of information about them and their political system in general. And then here is the specific politics screen with them. Now, I mean, these guys hate us, and this is what they have to say to us. You know, that's not a very nice greeting. And you can see their relationships towards everybody else here again. So they are not willing, as you can see here, they're not willing to do any sort of political deals with us. But we can click into them and see what kind of political deals would be available. And that's a bug that should be not available. I'll make a note. Again, why we're still in alpha and testing this sort of thing. Anyway, you can see that you can go in basically and see what sort of deals you could do, what sort of bargaining power costs are. We have 1550 right now that we got from the first battle, and so these are the costs of the different political deals that we could get them to do. You can say like, okay, you know, let's you know, give some tax breaks, up with the economy, down with medical environmental, because, you know, and that'll start a positive economic trend. Right now they're focused on a positive public order trend, trying to clean up all that crime, so I'm not going to stop them doing that. Each of the 8 races has its own political system, so you can see a little bit about that. It gives you a politics overview for the Acutians. It tells you any sort of information that's key here. So the next time there's an industry quorum is relevant here, and that'll determine what political deal categories you get. I'm not going to go into the explanation of the whole Acutian system at the moment. It's not that complicated really, but it's something that's not really warranted right now. There's then friendly and hostile acts that you can take. So let's say friendly acts. And so it's this thing here explains the very first time we come into it, you know, what are friendly actions and how does all this stuff work. There are a lot of things that we can't do because, like, we don't have ship designs, we don't have some things to give them, but it gives us an idea of what we can do. Help destroy a pirate base? Well, the 2 reasons we can't do that, it shows this right here. The only pirate bases that are out there are Acutian. These guys won't attack their own. And they really have to be feeling pretty neutral to us, at least influence level 0. We have -100, so they're not going to be helping us with anything anytime soon. So what about hostile acts? So this explains to us about hostile actions the first time. And so we can do a number of different things here. We could recruit an informant, and then there's a bunch of criminal things that open up to us. Let's do that. Why not? So 1,000 bargaining power, and then we gain an informant here. So we'll execute that deal. Fine. That was straightforward enough. All right, hostile acts now. Whoa, look at all this stuff that opened up. So a lot of this is too expensive in terms of bargaining power, because we have 550 now. But we could hire, you know, bioterrorists. We could look to sabotage a moon colony, although they don't have any right now. We could, you know, raid for a whole bunch of stuff. But they don't have any technology that we don't at the moment. Not yet. We just started. And a bunch of other things just aren't really relevant right now. We could raid a trader convoy, steal some cesium, and then we'd lose some influence with them, but then we could give that cesium to somebody else and make that other group like us better. We could go and attack their local armadas, or we could help the invader skirmisher attack. So the Burles will be happy with us just because they hate the Acutians, and so they're like, anybody who harms them a little bit is okay in my book. So the Acutians, of course, you know, we're helping invade their planet. They're not going to be thrilled about that. Let's do it. Take action. Okay, so at this point I can either start the combat or withdraw. I'm in low orbit around the planet. It's just going to be a bunch of civilian stuff. Let's get started. So we're still on that half speed slow-mo, and again, we're starting too far out from the battles at the moment. That's one of those things we're still tuning. Oh, yeah, and so there's the Thoraxians, and there are the Acutians in here. Now, the Thoraxians vastly outnumber, are vastly outnumbered by the Acutians. here are the Acutians. I can see they're my enemies by the little red lights on them. I can see that they're Acutians by the little color on there. Now, each armada is built up of flotillas, which in turn is built up of multiple flagships, and the number of flagships depends on the difficulty you're playing on. And I want to kill enough of their flagships so that I at least take out a flotilla, because that'll have a permanent impact on the solar game there. One thing to note is this is a chemical storage thing here. So this again is a civilian thing that I could kill. It would lose 4 environmental there, and then it also just has a big explosion, which of course is useful. So I'm not going to do that right now though. I'm going to do Operation Kamichi again, get my Kamichi fighters out. This is something that the Kamichi fighters are really useful because not only do they have extra guns, but they also are helping to block enemy shots. When there's a missile coming after me like that, if those guys fly in front of it, boom, got them instead of me. Didn't lose any shields or health. Thanks, Suicide Dude. Of course, they're all ship AI here, and I'm using the super fast forward a little bit here. They're all ship AI here, so they don't mind terribly much. The aliens themselves are all sentient, but that's not the case for the others. Okay, so what do we got down here? Alright, there's the Thoraxians, and I can see, based on the little pulsing white there, that they're not actually my friends. They're actually neutral. So they won't go out of their way to help me. You can see that over here too. It's white instead of blue. It means they won't go out of their way to help me. Like they won't give me little defensive flocks, little squadrons, but they will but they won't fire on me either. If I wanted to betray them and start firing on them, I could do it. Oops, that's them. But see, I can fire at them all day right now, and it just goes nice and past them, just like with my own ship. So you can't accidentally betray somebody, which is nice. Have a nice little junk field here now, which provides some excellent cover. That's why some of those turrets weren't firing on me. Okay. So using the mini-map, I can, see where the fellows are that I want to kill. I'll let the Thoraxians take care of them. Oh boy, there are some. Alright. There's some claymores, which they have a lot of armor that makes them resistant to this particular gun that I've got, which is the minigun. So it's not. I'm not really the best person to be directly after them. Operation Kamichi time again. Let's recharge on that has finished, and I have a little bit of ammo remaining on it now. And then Giga Cannon auto fires at them. Pretty powerful. Let's see. Thoraxian flagship there finished the claymores off, which is nice. I'm used to fighting against the Thoraxians, so those guys are helping. So, with my help, the Thoraxians are not doing too shabby here. These guys are trying to protect something. What is this? This is a military orbital barracks. So if I kill it, I'll get -5 influence with them. But it'll also kill 10 million ground soldiers, which are located inside this barracks. Populace is counted by the millions, so that's take that with a grain of salt, obviously. I don't think anybody's going to be invading these guys like super soon, so this is probably not the best time in the world to be just randomly, you know, destroying their barracks, so I'll leave it. Boom. Alright, we got them. My ship warped out of there in combat. Hooray, we've completed this contract successfully. So I got some bargaining power, lost the influence with the Acutians, gained influence with the Burlesque. The Thoraxians were just kind of like, whatever, thanks dude. You know, they just sent some skirmishers. They're not actually sieging the planet. So they didn't actually care. You know, whatever. Oh, look, there's no defensive fleets here at the moment anymore, so that's nice. So let's see, I can plant an some fake evidence of a conspiracy against somebody. They already don't like the Thoraxians. Let's see if we can do that. So let's see. Their opinion of the Thoraxians decreased by 30 because of suspicion of conspiracy. So now if we go back to our race relations thing here, let's just look at how the Acutians are. We can see that their dislike with the Thoraxians has gone up. Let's find out, well, actually, let's go the other way. Let's find out why the Acutians feel how they do. Well, we can see that because we oppose them in war there, they like us less because of that. And then with the Thoraxians, their most major category of reason they dislike them is the suspicion of conspiracy. Because we did most of the killing on the Armada when the Thoraxian skirmisher Armada showed up when attacked their Acutian planetary forces, they didn't even really register that the Thoraxians were that much of a problem. They kind of focused on us. They had the original inherent dislike slightly, and then well-being admiration. Apparently the Thoraxians are well off at the moment, and so the Acutians are like, gosh, wish we could be like you. You're awesome. Oh, look at that. So over here, we've got a baby boom going on. That's just wonderful. Lots of little insects to give us some information, to oppose us in war. That's just great. Here's a planetary sidebar here. We can see some information. So they've got 36 million total population. That's not exactly a whole lot. Equilibrium population is 392 million. So this is not a humongous planet. Once they hit basically 3.9 billion populace, then something will happen. They'll either turn aggressive, or they'll just kind of stagnate, or they'll go into internal war. It could be a number of different things. That's the total land area. Apparently it's all been cultivated, so there's no unusable land area at the moment. Right now they have 9 million children workers, which are 9 million children drones, because they're the Thoraxians. Those aren't good for anything. You see how many ground soldiers that they have. All of the Thoraxian adults count as ground soldiers, so 27 million there. That is not the case with most races, but it is with the Thoraxians and the Acutians. And you can see their birth and death rates here. They've got 3 uncolonized moons. That's not 3 million, that's just 3. That M needs to go away. And then you can see their defense armadas. They've got 4 of them. Each one has 2 flotillas and 11 total power. So I can come in here, and disable that. Can go in here. There's the Thoraxian Hive Queen from the planet. And then this is their politics screen. They're simpler in a lot of ways to deal with. They don't even have names. They're moody. Right now, she's feeling warlike. Great. So I could probably convince her to do some, you know, military deals and so forth. She would do it for a lower cost than she otherwise would if it wasn't for the fact that she doesn't like me. Stop attacking another race. On the other hand, she wants, you know, the sun and the moon to stop doing that. She's not attacking anybody right now anyway, but if she was, she's feeling warlike. She's not about to stop a war unless we like really call in some favors. And yes, I see the typo, which will be fixed. So she's feeling neutral to us. I mean, you know, what should we do here? Let's see if there's something we can do. Oh, there's invader armadas over here. Oh, there's pirates. She's being attacked by pirates, and it is Acution pirates. Not gonna hurt the feelings of the Acutions with it being pirates. It's not a big deal. Okay, wow. There's some targets of opportunity in here too. Man, this is a four-sided war here. We've got the pirates that are the Acutions, and then the Burlas and the Borines. Apparently, we're just passing by and decided to just chip in and help. So that's lovely. So here's something we're about to learn. Is that sometimes, what is it, the better part of valor is retreating, or how's that quote go? I totally fudged that. But at any rate, you will not win every battle. You will not stick around to the end of every battle. There are going to be quite a number of cases where you say, I've done what I can. The things I've done are permanent. And it's time to leave, because if your flagship dies, that's it. You're done. And so it's really a good idea to conserve yourself, and then sorry, it's hard to talk and kind of strategize. Yeah, thank you, man. Flying in front of my that missile hitting for me like that. Anyway, so if things get too dire, then I will withdraw, which you can see the little button for that down here at the bottom, and it takes a few seconds to withdraw, and every time you oops, those are the Arcens. I'm shooting them for. Every time you withdraw, the number of every time you take a hit while you're trying to withdraw, the amount of time, you know, goes back up. So you can't just escape in the middle of a cloud of guys. You have to kind of get clear. So you have to bear that in mind when you're weighing, do I keep fighting or not? And this is really a much larger conflict than I expected. Look at all these turrets that are friendly to me. I can just waltz on right by. The turrets are helping me out. We're helping defend. So the Thraxians, they've got quite a few fleets here. They had, what was it, 4 flotillas? I'm not sure exactly how many of them are involved in this battle at the moment, but a substantial number of them, I would say. You know, and they're fighting pirates. These are not a planetary force. The pirates, though, they use their own kind of ships. They're different ship types than any of the planetary forces use, and they are fast, they are strong, they're smaller in numbers, but they're still a force to be reckoned with, and they're trying to see what they can rip up in terms of you know, the Thraxian Armada. You'll notice I'm doing super fast forward quite a lot because circle lines there. Because I, you know, am not near the enemy right now, and I don't like playing this speed in the first place. But hey, that's what we'll do. So zoom, and man, I wish I could use my nukes, but I can't because I'm trying to make friends here. And using nukes at the Thraxian planet to defend their planet while poisoning them is not exactly the key to making them friends with me. So, Operation Kamichi again. Let's double our number of guys. Now, looking at the mini-map over here, I'm, chasing the guys around. The pirates are trying to make a nice perimeter. I'm going to cut them off this direction. So I see what they're doing. The Thoraxians are playing very defensively, and that's all well and good. It's not really a great thing for flagships in general to mix it up with the enemy. Ours is an exception. We're basically Batman in space. We are awesome compared to everybody else because we have all this hydral technology on ours that our ships got all these abilities and guns and stuff that nobody else has, and that's really quite an advantage for us. So, wow, there's a mess of guys. Hooray, we won! Alright, so we end this combat, and we did a friendly action. So our flagship got repaired for free as a thank you. Important note is that your flagship's damage sticks around between combats. So your shields don't, because those auto-repair anyway. But if you do a friendly action for a race, then they'll repair your flagship for free as a thank you. If you do something that's hostile, then, or if you just get attacked somewhere, then no, that doesn't cut it. You can go to the black market and you can spend some bargaining power to get your flagship fixed up there, but it's kind of a bad deal, and it's really not something that is intended to what am I trying to say? It's not something that's intended to be used frequently, unless you're really playing as kind of a jerk mode. Anyway, so plus 15 influence with the Thoraxians because we came to their defense. Minus 10 influence with the Borians because we opposed them in war. And then we got an additional 1 influence with the Thoraxians. For enemy of my enemy, the fact that we opposed the Borians made the Thoraxians extra happy with us. And so we actually got a net of 16 influence with them. So now they're neutral. Hooray! Alright. Still can't do interplanetary relations because they need 20 influence for that. But we could do some military deals or things of that nature. There's a pirate base. If we wanted to get them to destroy that, then we could have them do it. We'd also gain some influence with them because they like it when we fight. And they'll do it relatively cheap as well. We could also have them try and increase their birth rate for a while. We could have them try and accelerate warships there. They don't like the fact that we're meddling, but they would have a lot more ships at least. There's not really anything I want to do there right now. We are also friends enough now that we could go destroy the pirate base together. And so rather than paying them in bargaining power for them to go off and do it on their own, we could do it together. Or we could even go raid a pirate convoy for loot, because then we could get some bribe items and then either bribe the Hive Queen for some influence and to try and help change her mood around some. Or we could bribe somebody else. The burlesque, for instance, respond really only to bribes and blackmail and duels. So there's a really unique society there. Coming to the black market here, I can, it gives me a little introduction here to what this is. I can customize my flagship here. So my primary weapon is minigun. There's some others I can get later. That's the thing that when I left click and hold down, it does it. The weapon abilities, there's a variety of different things. I could, and you see what all the abilities are. Nuke is something that I wasn't really using. I'd kind of like to have double giga cannons because those things automatically target the nearest enemy flagship and they pierce through a bunch of things all at once. If you can get a line of enemy flagships, you can do really well. I actually could have played much better in that battle if I had just been a little more patient, gotten to where they were on the line, and then used that a couple of times. I could have gotten 2 flagships with the same ammo. But, say let me. There's another couple of ones. Operation Zero is like suicide bomber guys. Kamichi the defense guys. Mercenary Hotline is a pretty interesting one. And transfer power costs me some hull health and some other stuff, but it gives me attack bonus. Sure, let's use that. So now we've customized our flagship. We can also negotiate with the mercenaries here. So here's where you can like buy repairs. We're already at full health, so there's nothing to repair. We can buy hydral technology. Let's go ahead and do that. Ooh, boy. Deploy orbital bomber. That's a fun one. That's another operation here. So deploying orbital bombers, when we put those out of our flagship in orbit, you can't use them except in orbit around a planet. For one thing, everybody who's allies with the owner of the planet, they all freak out and they start really getting distracted by the orbital bomber. So for the one hand, it's a great diversion. On the other hand, it launches bombs into the atmosphere, and so every bomb that hits, you know, kills populace and has the potential to destroy buildings that are important as well. And so as the races get more built up with structures and so forth, which they've not even hardly gotten started yet, that sort of thing is relevant. Right now I don't have any plans to actively use that right at the moment, so I'm not going to use it, but you know, I can buy and sell bribe items and sell some trade goods. Usually you don't want to sell this stuff because it's kind of a raw deal. You would, you know, capture trade goods and then gift them to somebody else in exchange for influence, or, you know, the bribe items are a good way to get influence in a way that if somebody really hates your guts, like the Acutians hate me at the moment, I may need to butter them up a little bit with some bribes before they'll even consider some deals. Or if they happen to be in war with somebody, then I'll help them out there. It's hard to get back on somebody's good side, and so, you know, there's a variety of different ways you can do that. And there's a bunch of other various stuff, but I'll pause this again so we can see what else has been going on here. So, for instance, there's a housing boom. The Thoraxians are, that's using the wrong text. See, this is, again, why we're in alpha. Piteous plight. So the Acutians, oh wow, their natural planet situation is so bad that everybody else is liking them a little bit better because of that. Holy cow, when I hover over them, I see that their planetary compatibility is 0.1, which is really bad. They do have 4 buildings. They have population 327. Yeah, that's not good. The planetary compatibility is how suited for that particular type of planet they are, and that is a volcanic sort of magma world, and the Acutians don't do well in that environment. The Burles would love it. The Burles here, they have a 1.6 compatibility rating with their planet, so, you know, it's a little better than average. Like the 0.5 with the Peltians on this gas giant, I think it is. That's not so hot. And, you know, and the Skylaxians are neutral. They're on another ice belt planet. And I could fly over there and see a bunch of details about the planets if I wanted to. But and then Practical Exodus for the Acutians. Great. That's always wonderful. Morale is so low there that because their living situation is so bad that a bunch of them are just flying out into the either asteroid belt here or the ice belt. They're hidden and they are becoming pirates. That's great. So one of the things I can do is look at the racial power grid, and I can see how many pirate bases are there right now. There are 3 pirate bases, and they're all Acutians. That's what they're up to. There are not any pirate armadas known in the solar system right now. In other words, there aren't any that have come out of the ice or asteroid belts that everybody else is aware of. There are some in there, but it's impossible to know. I mean, you have to kind of fly through there and find them. If you go on a raid for them, then, you know, it'll automatically take you to one, but you can't just stumble upon it. And then we can also see here, this gives us a nice little handy view of like the armadas that everybody has. So we can see, the burlesques are leading in terms of armadas. These guys are not spacefaring yet. They're still working on that. And then you can see how many ground soldiers there are and all that sort of thing, how many citizens there are. Burlesques are another one where like everybody is a warrior, actually. They're big warrior culture. How many planets everybody has? Everybody still has one at the moment. Nobody's built any space outposts yet. Nobody's at active war yet. We've seen a couple of little skirmishes, but not active war. That gets kind of nuts. Yeah, so let's see like the population graphs here. So we can see the populations, the burlesques have jumped up in population there. The soldiers will be the same. There's no anti-federation alliance yet. Personnel transports, nobody's building any yet, so okay. Those are required for war. Let's say, you can see the technology progress here with all the different technologies in the tech tree. Nobody's at the point of actually researching any technology yet, and since nobody's built a science outpost that we could steal, we can't research any yet either. The armada graphs here, the total powers is a representation of the overall number of squadrons divided among the flotillas. So you can see the Thraxians took a big bump downwards there, and the Acutians here took a big bump down. I think this is when we attacked the Acutians, and then over there's probably when we helped the Thraxians, but they still took casualties. And so we can look by number of flotillas, and then we can look by number of total armadas, and so that's pretty interesting. There's a bunch of information on all the different ship classes too. I mean, there's a bunch of stuff in here that you can look at. You don't need to read this page. If you're a grognard and you're into this sort of stuff, I find it interesting. There's tooltips to your heart's delight. You can look through all this stuff, see who's got the best things. You can go and steal ship designs from one race, give it to another race, and improve their designs that way. There's random stats on all the different ships in each game. So there's stuff like that. But you don't have to go messing in all that sort of thing, especially not at kind of a moderate level of play. I'm going to save my game real quick here. And let's load up, I think it's this one. It's further in. This is actually by, no, not that. This is a save game from Cyborg, actually one of our alpha testers, and this is a much more advanced situation here. So we can see, well, let's see what's going on here. So we can see, all right, this is glowing here, and so you can see that the Thraxians, for instance, and the Acutians are actively at war. These guys, yeah, inverted pity is something where when there's something that is particularly that particularly bad situation where normally like somebody nice would feel sorry for them, the kind of more evil races have the inverse of that, and thought it would be funny to call it inverted pity. Anyway, so those guys are at war. We can see, let's see the racial power grid, get a quick overview of stuff. So the burlesques have all the armadas for the most part. The Thraxians are not too bad there. The Acutians have no armadas right now. That's interesting. So let's see how long it's been. So this is real time, 30 minutes into the game. And then, yeah, 2.7 years into the game. So the Thraxians are actually attacking the Andors here. If I just fast forward a little bit, that planet's gonna flip. Boom, that just flipped. So I can pause again now. So the Acutians have been pretty much wiped out. There was a ground battle that went on that was already ongoing before we even started this save game. The Acutians have no planets anymore. There are 3 Acutian pirate bases still. There may be some refugees or prisoners of war Well, there's no prisoners of war. The Thraxians don't take prisoners of war. All the other races do, but the Thraxians just murder everybody. They're really monstrous. But there may be some refugees that escaped somewhere else, and there's a couple of things we could do. We could aid, like a hostile action that we could come over here and take would be to say, so smuggle in resistance fighters. So, we can't do that right now. But if the pirates were willing, then we could help the Acutians take back their planet there by smuggling in resistance fighters for them, and that would be an interesting way to get them back in the game, because otherwise they just got knocked out of the game. And at the moment, if I go to the race relations thing, you can see they're not even there. They're gone. I'll still see them as long as their pirate bases are around, but they're not going to get any new pirate bases. They may have, like I said, some refugees or even some expatriates elsewhere. They would have a bunch of pals, and I could help those guys in an uprising, except when Thraxians take you over, there's no pals. And so, you know, I could get them back in the game, maybe, depending on the state of what all exactly happened, but that's not the closest thing here. This is the, you can see the, I didn't show you this before, the planetary inventory for each of the planets here. And so this is Kumara, which is now Thraxian controlled, but it was the Acutian homeworld. We can see how many personnel transports are there. The population's only 2 million because they just have kind of started to establish anything. You can see the resource shortages and all that sort of stuff. There's no insurgents or anything. Some buildings here. I'm trying to see if there's any if there are any refugees that escaped, and it's not looking like it. They just didn't have time. Yeah. Yep. No refugees. Wow, that's a lot of personnel pods. Oh, yes, the Thraxians. I was about to say, it looks like they're gearing up for war, but yeah, that's kind of a duh sort of a statement. Because these guys are, well, who do they hate now? So they're probably going to either go after the Skylaxians or the Peltians. They don't really hate them that much right now, but they're kind of opportunistic that way. So anyway, oh, and you know, you can see the history of what's been going on over here with like apparently Cyborg had smuggled in spacefaring tech to the Skylaxians, and then the Acutians were having problems on this one too. So they had Piteous Plight and a Piratical Exodus. I mean, boy, those guys just had no luck in these two games. That's just chance. But the Skylaxians had an election and got some of their Senate members changed out, and they may have gotten a new speaker. Shortage of doctors on the Peltian homeworld, so that's a shame. Then the Borines became spacefaring on their own. There was a mass die-off on the Thraxian homeworld, but that didn't really slow them down at all. Man, 2 mass die-offs in a row. And then they had Piteous Plight there for a little bit, but since the Thraxians are hive mind, they're like these insect-like things, they can't have pirates because there's nobody with independent will to go do it. The Andors are these utopian robots that also can't have pirates, but everybody else can. And so then, yeah, the Thraxians, we can see here where they started attacking the planet. And then the Burlust apparently have been having quite a bit of war around their planet because there's been enough junk buildup in their orbit, that not only during battles is there just junk flying all over the place, but they started actively harvesting the space junk to boost production on their stuff for a while. And that then, of course, draws down the amount of junk that's flying around in their orbit. So the presence of space junk comes from prior battles. So whether that's, you know, NPC battles versus each other, or pirates, or whatever, or if you're involved or not, you know, space junk gets modeled based on, you know, what all happens. I mean, you saw how shoot ships and stuff flies out of it. And so, you know, the burlesque, I don't think they're really that concerned with cleanliness, but they did decide that they're, you know, wanted that boost. So then here we go, the Thoraxians captured the planet. That's what happened right there. The Acutians went down fighting. The Thoraxians got all of them. Then the Hive Queen had a mood swing. This is the one on Kumara. Yeah, so that's the new Hive Queen. So now we've got two Hive Queens. The new one decided she's warlike, naturally. Burlesque are harvesting space junk again. They must have had a bunch of it. Another Skylaxian election. And then Thoraxian's piteous plight there. So that's some of the stuff that's been going on. And then I can come over here, you know, and you can see, let's see the planet sidebar. Space junk buildup, 119 out of 1,000 max. So you see that just dropped to 114 because they're actively harvesting it. I don't think I've shown. I'm going to stop in a minute. I wound up getting sucked in. I mean, you can see like lists of known aliens that should be showing up in front of the GUI. That's a bug that I'll have to deal with. But you can see that sort of thing. And then what was I going to show you? Oh, that's right. Never mind. I can't show you that anymore because I decided it would be more interesting if that was hidden. I was going to show you the list of what the races are all doing at the moment, but through testing and so forth, I decided that it's more interesting if you find out when they're done rather than when they start doing something, because it's more realistic. I mean, you wouldn't have that kind of intel on them. So the burlesques are harvesting space junk again, or just finished rather. So anyway, that's a good portion of it. Oh, there goes a skirmisher. Wonder where he's headed. Thoraxian planet. So now they're there, and I could jump in and help out if I felt like it. Help defend against it, gain some BP that way. Lose some influence with the burlesque, or if I want to do the other, help the invader armadas with the attack. You know. There's a variety of different things that I could do. But yeah, so, you know, and then the chatter here has been going on and on. So you can see basically the whole Twitter log of everything they've all been saying. They've been, you know, complaining about all sorts of different things. So, you know, Thoraxians just finished the hotel and casino complex, so they're happy. And the Skylaxians apparently have been mixing it up with the Thoraxians there, so yeah, they just lost 4 armadas. Wow. Ooh, boy, yeah. So I told you, I knew it was going to be one of those guys first, and they haven't even declared war. You know, yeah, they didn't have the courtesy to declare war on these guys. The dislike went up a bit. But in the Skylaxians, you know, their attitude has gone down some, but they're still overall feeling friendly because you haven't murdered enough of us yet to, you know, overcome our prior happy feelings to you. So it's just kind of like, you know, why do they like the Thoraxians? Oh, okay, because originally pity was a big part of it, and then they just originally liked them so much, and then the fact that they're a warmonger in general really kind of, the Skylaxians are really honorable, so they don't like that. And then war, having been at war, they didn't like that. And then the Thoraxians help, but the Thoraxians help my friend, you know. So it's kind of this whole you know, mess of different things there. Versus if we look at like the Thraxians' view of the Skylaxians, you know, we can see, okay, well, they originally disliked the Skylaxians, but they do admire their well-being. They've been at war. Oh, and they've got planet envy. That's never good. Because apparently the Skylaxians have a planet that the Thraxians would be well suited for, and the Thraxians are on a planet that they are not well suited, that the Thraxians are not well suited for, so they're wanting to trade up, and actually not really trade, just take both. So if I'm not careful here, or Cyborg isn't really, because this is his game, then there would be a Fear Empire before too long with the Thraxians getting that strong, or maybe even a Thraxian protectorate if some of the other weaker races decide to band together with the Thraxians just for you know, protection, kind of in a mob sort of sense. Okay, yeah, I said I was stopping, and I'm gonna. We're still working on it, obviously. You've seen a few little things here and there that, you know, just aren't quite right, little bugs and this, that, and the other. There's still more stuff for us to put in that will let you interact with the solar map a little bit better. We still need to get in the other mode of combat that's, you know, text-based and just gets at the tactics of it without the, you know, action-y combat that showed off today. And, you know, there's various things with balance and bugs and all that sort of stuff. Just kind of the general cleanup that you always go through at the end of a project. But it's coming along really well, and it's something that we're just super excited about, and hope that you are too. I know this has been a long video, so really appreciate your taking the time to watch. And I'll be putting out new videos soon to show off specific new features as we put them together. So, have a good one.